So it is Pride Month, and I just want to go ahead and open up this Pride Month with this story that I love telling. I love telling this story because it's always an eye opener for me for how dumb I used to be in comparison to, well, I don't want to, yeah, for how ignorant I used to be in comparison to how I am now. And also, I just think it's funny. I just think that it's a genuinely funny story. But it's a story about how I stopped being homophobic. Trigger warning, I will say the words gay, gaydar, and homophobic in here a few times, and I know that there's going to be some people who are going to hear those words and immediately get, upset, but just know, I'm not trying to be offensive, I'm not saying slurs, it's just literally in context to the story, so just bear with me on this. To start off, my gaydar was always terrible, from what I can tell. Growing up, I didn't understand what gay was, and nobody ever told me what being gay was. They used to just use it as an insult to say certain things. So I remember the first time I ever heard the word gay, I was in the 5th grade, and people was making jokes about it, and they would say, "Oh, you're gay, yada yada yada," and I would be like, "What does that mean?" And they would say, and nobody would ever tell me what the word meant. They would just say, "Gay just means being gay," to which I would say, "That's yeah, totally, good talk, right?" I really hate. What is this? What is this? Why is this happening? I don't know. In any case though, so I didn't, when I found out what being gay actually was, I didn't understand why it was a terrible thing. I say I always thought it was different, but I didn't think it was a bad thing until you grow up in a community or an environment where there's people who just genuinely missed their years where they just used to just be a high school bully and they just made that into their whole personality. And they would just tell you, being gay is bad, being gay is evil. If you make eye contact with them, you're immediately married to one of them and all this other stuff. And that was just kind of the thing that was happening. But they never specifically told you how to find out if somebody was gay or not. The logic was that if you thought somebody was gay, if you thought somebody looked gay, they were. That was what the gaydar was at the day. It was if somebody looked gay, they were, and you're a good person for acknowledging that and saying that they're a bad person for being that. You know what I'm saying? So, and the problem was that this was dude community stuff. So dudes would kind of get together and just ultimately make it seem dudes would get together and they would just basically make it seem like there was a fraternity among bigotry, and that bigotry was homophobia or transphobia or something of the like. So in order to kind of be one of the boys, you had to be homophobic or transphobic or just mean or just genuinely a mean person. It wasn't it was very rare that you would be a part of a community and they would just get together because they actually liked things that as much as they just hated everything else. So for example, there would be how I make my right wing pipeline shorts kind of explain that a little bit but it was ultimately like that a lot more than you think. So I just thought that was really, I ain't gonna lie, I knew it was stupid, but I kind of figured if I didn't want to be alone, I would have to play ball. So I would do the whole homophobia stuff too. I would do the transphobia stuff too. One of my favorite things that I used to do was ask, "Hey man, how would you respond if the girl you just finished smashing told you that she was a dude?" Because they would always say, "Man, I'm a in their life," and that would be kind of the thing that was sort of because the thing was that if you didn't have friends, people were your enemy. It was kind of like that. So it's if you weren't friends with people, they gave you crap. So it was just a case of, "Hey guys, wait. I'm homophobic just like you. We're good? We're friends?" You know what I'm saying? Because if I didn't get on, if I didn't do that, then it would, they would be like, "Oh, I know you ain't laughing," kind of situation. So, so that was what I was trying my best to avoid. The sad part is that they still I still got bullied. I didn't get bullied as much, but I still got bullied, and it was intense. It wasn't slow. It wasn't what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't slow drips as much as it was just a river. But these guys, but it's but I tried my best to but I also realized the more I was trying to be on the good side and be friends with them and stuff like that, they would make it very clear that But they didn't, they'll make it very clear, like, here's the reason why they're so bad. Because if you make eye contact with them, they're going to do things to your booty. You know what I'm saying? And when you're young, when you're young and this is the environment that this is kind of like all you know, you're like, oh no, I don't want them to do things in my butt. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of like what it was. It was just like, if you make eye contact with one of them, they're going to do things to your butt. And yeah, so it was like, no. And so it was like, so the gaydar was basically, if they looked gay, they were, and you were a good person if you basically like call them out on it. And if you make eye contact with them, they will do things to your butt. These were the things that I was sort of like growing up with as a young man, living in the area that I was living in, surrounded by the people that I was surrounded by. So when I ultimately ended up when I tried to go to college and I found myself living in a co-ed dorm, it was kind of like I'm trying my best to describe this co-ed dorm situation because it was basically a 4-bedroom apartment. But like it was a 4-bedroom apartment, but everybody just sort of lived in an individual room. Imagine use your imagination here, but imagine like cutting a room into like 9 pieces, and like the corner pieces are the rooms, the bedrooms for the people who are living there. The rooms in the middle of those corner pieces are the bathrooms. So the 2 people on each side share the bathroom, and like basically you would go into the bathroom and you would close the door on the other side and lock it so that the other person who was in the other room wouldn't go into the bathroom while you're in there. And the middle 3 squares, obviously the topmost square in the middle is going to be like the kitchen, and the following 2 squares on the bottom is the living room. That's the living situation I was living in. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't like, me and 3 other people who I knew, we were all just sort of living together in one apartment. I would just find myself moving into a room with 3 people who I would probably that I have a chance of probably not even meeting personally. But I did, and they were actually really cool people. It was a lady and a man, and the man was gay. And I did not know that until, I was living here for at least maybe a year and a half or something. And in that year, I found myself being friends with both of my dorm mates, so to speak. And in that year, a lot of stuff has happened. I remember getting into a wreck, and I had to get another car. The car was in really bad shape. I'm trying to remember, there was a lot of stuff. It was a lot of stuff that happened throughout the course of a couple of months, and these people were my friends, so they saw me undergo all of this stuff. And it was just kind of, that was one of the things that would kind of just go crazy. That was one of the things that would go wrong. So when I found out that, because I didn't know he was gay until somebody else said that he was gay, and I basically went up to him going, hey, these people, they're calling you gay, dude. You're not gay, right? And he was like, dude, didn't I, you didn't know? And I'm like, what do you mean I didn't know? You know what I'm saying? Then my homophobia mode actually went into, my homophobia mode just kind of went, and the first thing that went to my mind is, you're not going to go after me, are you? Mind you, this is my friend who saw me go through a lot of terrible things. And also for context, I was at the time maybe a good 60, 70 pounds lighter than I am now. So I was thin as a rail. And I was, my beard was growing in patches. My car was 10 years old and in actually such bad shape that my car was in such bad shape that I found myself actually having to get a new starter because the old starter kept locking my key and I couldn't turn it. So I actually had to keep my car in the parking lot for a while, and I would have to A, ask for rides, or B, walk to work. By the way, work was not great. I found myself, I was still broke after all the stuff I had to deal with. It was, oh my God, that job did not pay me a whole lot, but that was only because I was barely there anyway. So I was working a job that wasn't really paying me a whole lot. I was skinny, very skinny. I had a patchy beard, and also because he told me I had a smell too. That was rough to hear. I also like walking everywhere. So I also like walking everywhere. So I always I always like I had like a permanent tan. I was actually a lot lighter. I was actually like a lot lighter than this. But I liked walking everywhere because everywhere was kind of like conveniently placed. I live next to I live literally down the street from a McDonald's and next to a grocery store. So if I wanted to buy something, I would just go to the grocery store to buy something, or I would go down to the McDonald's and eat. And it was just like a lot. It was a lot of it was a lot of things that I had kind of like going against me here. And so when I asked him, "Hey, you're not gonna go after me, right?" And he looked at me and he gave me the meanest look. He gave me the meanest look I think I've ever gotten. And he said it wasn't like a look like he wanted to fight. It was a look of question. It was a look like, did you really just ask me that question? Because he said, and go where? He was like, bro, where would I want to go in this beat up old car? You dress like a poor person, you look like a poor. How you got a job and you still look homeless? Like you got a job and an apartment and you still look homeless. He was roasting me and I needed this. I actually needed this roast session because I just let him. He was just going and going and going. And your car messed up too. Like you got a 10-year-old car, you could at least clean it once in a while. Like how's it, bro? How you look like your car? How's your car also look homeless? He was just roasting me, bro. Just going in, just going ham. And at some point, he said this. This was one thing that really kind of like stuck out to me the most. He said, also, if women don't want you, what makes you think I do? He said that after what felt like an hour of just reading me. He read me like a I don't know, like a book report project in the 7th grade or something. He just trashed me. And at some point, I got mad enough that I said, shut up, you want me. And I wanted to say that until I realized, why would I want him to want me? That was a wrap. That was a wrap. He basically said the thing that I needed him to say. He said the thing that I needed him to say, and it's like, if girls don't want you, what makes you think that I do? That, like all the homophobic lies that I heard about, oh, they're gonna do things to your booty if you make eye contact with them, and blah blah blah, and they're gonna do things, they're gonna hurt you. They like if you like if you're cool with them, then you're one of them, blah blah blah. And this dude just came in and just basically told me that I'm broke, I'm physically unattractive, I have a lot of things wrong with me, and like he was reading me like how most women would, and that made me think to myself, wait, they don't just like any guy? They have standards? They're shallow too? I needed that read, man. And from that moment on, like I stopped looking at them like these monsters I was gonna like, these booty hunter monsters that like the homophobic community basically pushed at me. And I realized they're just people. They have taste. Like they have taste, they have like their own preferences, they like certain types of people. One of my favorite things, like because like I said, we're friends now, and he basically told me straight up, they have like gay men also have preferences, and if you don't fit that preference, you're not really you're not really like on their radar like that. My gaydar is technically still bad now because I stopped caring about like who's gay and who isn't, because I don't like I will never know who's gay and who isn't. I'll always find myself just being surprised about it. Actually, at the event, I met there was a gay dude who I interacted with him for like a couple of weeks. I didn't know he was gay. You know what I'm saying? And once everybody else said it, I was just like, really? And they're like, dude, he made it obvious. I didn't know he didn't. Because I don't pay attention to that sort of stuff. Like, it's just like, I feel like if somebody's gay, they're going to say so. You know what I'm saying? It's 2025. Why not just outright say it? But so it's like, but it was just a moment that I realized, I didn't have to be homophobic. I didn't have to be the way that I was sort of just being told to be. And because these people are not hurting, they're not really like going after anybody. They're not the booty hunter monsters that these folks really like pushed out for them. And I, to this day, will always like be thankful for Lando for trashing me about that, because this dude saw me go through some stuff, man. He saw me go through some things. He saw me like he read me like a book, and then he basically said he said, "You're not cute," and I said, "Wow." It's like it was the one time getting shot down actually like helped me. So yeah, he was actually in my live like a couple of days ago too. So shout out to Lando for like being able to just change my mind about like just the entire gay community in general, because how you and your car both look homeless, bruh. I ain't gonna lie, that was funny. That was funny because my fashion sense was not good and my car was in bad shape. So it's like looking back, it's like that's probably one of the few times I would ever like be okay with being roasted. But yeah, like once I learned that these people have preferences, it became easier for me to not be afraid of them for being like these people that they were being pushed to be. So yeah, and that was the moment when I realized, like once I realized that, it was like once I realized that there were just people just trying to get on with their lives and just not be harassed by people who want to mess with them. It's like I can support that. I can go along with that, because as a black dude, I know that feeling. I know what it's like to be, like people who hate you just want to just sort of ruin your day because they don't like you. They don't like how you look. Ultimately, it's just crazy to me. So yeah, shout out to Lando. Like every so often, there was a time where I actually used to like call up Lando. I used to like call him up and be like, I used to like call him up sometimes, and I would ask him if something was gay, because like I say, I would call him my gay consultant, and I would like call him up and be like, hey, is this thing gay? And he says, does it make you want to do gay things? And I go, no. And he says, then it's not gay. Shut up and leave me alone. And I'd be like, why are you so bad, bro? We still friends, man. We still friends. I adore the heck out of that dude, though. I don't mind it. He knows what he signed up for. Shoot. But yeah, that was a moment when I realized, that was a moment when I realized that I'm not homophobic. I was just brainwashed by bigotry, and I was just like, I'm not trying to do that no more. I do think that is weird. Like people be like, oh well, if you empathize with the gay community, that means you are gay too. And it's like, no, it's like y'all immediately like the fact that people just like link empathy to sexual attraction is just weird. Like we really do need to we need to unplug that. We need to like just undo that. Empathy doesn't mean sexual attraction. Empathy, because like by that logic, a lot of people you empathize with, you're saying that you're sexually attracted to, and that's a problem. Shoot. But yeah, happy Pride Month. Shout out to Lando, and love and peace to every single one of y'all out there. And I just hope that things get better. At this point now, I just want things to get better, and I feel like we should all just sort of do that. But yeah, let's just go ahead and remember, gay people have preferences, and you're not. If you think that you're on their radar, you're probably not. Don't go through what I did, because my feelings was genuinely hurt. He said, bro, it's like how you shower and still got a smell. I'm sitting here like, I smell like I shower. No, you smell like wetter version of what you smell like when you got in. Oh my God, this dude. Man, I didn't realize that they was so mean before that. Oh my God. I didn't realize it was that mean, bro. They could, bro, that, like, you couldn't just call me an enemy, dork. You had to call me you had to go through all of that. Bruh, and we still friends. Because I needed to hear that. So shout out to Lando one more time. But that's it, though. Obviously. But I will say this, though. While I don't consider myself to be homophobic or transphobic, I do consider myself to be an ally. I do know that I'm capable of saying dumb things that will probably upset the LGBTQ community. And I just want y'all to understand, I'm not a bigot. I'm just dumb. You know what I'm saying? I'm Southern, so I'm going to get it wrong sometimes, but I'm still on your side. I don't hate y'all. I'm just dumb, and I don't know the right things to say. And I really do feel like I need to kind of like just reevaluate that. But that's it though. I promise this time. That's the end of the video. But love and peace to every single one of y'all out there. I hope everybody's doing okay, and on to the next one. Happy Pride.